Crag ethics and etiquette. If you're heading out to the Peak District, North Yorkshire or Fontainebleau for the first time, after discovering that climbing is amazing, and you'd like to touch rock instead of plastic, this guide is for you. I've structured this guide to be in chronological order, so just follow along, imagining you're pulling up to the parking. And if you're a seasoned rock toucher, there could still be something of value for you in this guide too. We'd love to hear if you agree, disagree with any of these, and most importantly, if you think we've missed any. We all love this beautiful sport that allows us to discover so much about ourselves and our abilities, a sport that we share with close friends and family, lots that we've met through climbing. This guide isn't meant to sound like a grumpy old man lecture. Far from it. It's all about sharing helpful insights. Hopefully after reading this, you too support these efforts and can pass on the learning to your friends that may get into climbing in the future. I've been climbing for over 10 years with over 500 days of it spent outside. Firsthand, I've witnessed the impact of increased traffic on beloved routes over time, both here and abroad. While change is inevitable, there's a solid and obvious list of steps we can take to mitigate and minimize the effects of the sport's growing popularity. First thing, lift share. Before you even set off to the crag, think if you can lift share. If you're heading out on a busy day with a pre-planned group and all your pads, equipment, and climbers fit in one car, bingo. Beyond the obvious of a smaller carbon footprint, it'll be easier for you to find parking. Don't have many climbing partners within your friendship group? Most cities have mountaineering clubs, and there are endless groups on social media designed for connecting climbers who want a lift, a catch, or just fancy some social climbing. Parking. Aside from tips for avoiding unexpected tickets, there's a few things worth covering here that aren't immediately obvious. Clearing the obvious first, be mindful of how you park wherever you go. Park at car parks where possible and park your car in a space-efficient way. Don't park sideways across 3 potential perpendicular spaces in a lay-by. If you arrive when it's quiet, think, how can I park so this space can be fully utilized? This will allow for other visitors to enjoy the outdoors as much as you do. If the obvious parking is full for the crag you plan to go to, it's in everyone's best interest to go elsewhere. Take a longer approach and bank the cardio or pick a quieter crag. Carving your own new spot half in a hedge or in front of farmers' gates is a surefire way to anger locals and landowners. Likewise, avoid parking on super wet mud or grass where you might spin your wheels and tear up the ground. Yes, your car's a beast and may eat mud for breakfast, but ultimately it's more about risking access rights. We're not the most inconspicuous, walking in with mattresses on our backs, so access bans are easy targets for disgruntled parties. Aside from access rights and being a considerate soul, there's also a point that can't be exaggerated enough. Shit parking is deadly. Most parking areas for accessing crags are on small rural roads with high speed limits. If you park half on a verge, you're endangering yourself and other drivers, but most importantly, you risk preventing the emergency services and mountain rescue accessing the fells. If you have an unfortunate slip and get gifted an open fracture, but there are cars on both sides of the access road, the larger vehicles that come to your rescue will be stuck. This is all seen all too often on bank holidays where the masses descend, so please park considerably. Paths versus open fell. Between climbers, it's often agreed we should all try to stick to existing paths. We're often all heading to the same crag from the parking, so it makes sense. Few of our team are also into their fell running, and whilst that's any line is in sport, everyone is taking different lines, so the impact is limited. As a group of boulder pad mules, maybe with trad rack wind chimes jingling away, enough crag snacks to feed the 5,000 and a half, the B&Q battery fan range, we weigh a lot more and have more of an impact. Often stomping through a bunch of shrubbery with a laden pack will save yourself probably no time anyway, since you'll be slower than going back a bit and rejoining a path. The majority of the shrubbery you'll be stomping through consists of ferns, which form a stifling monoculture across most gritstone hillsides. However, this dominance arises from their incredible resilience, so stomping through them may actually help these 8-foot ferns take over even more by destroying the more fragile plants beneath. But the main damage is that hillsides are disturbed, which can contribute to erosion. Litter picking, a no-brainer. Take your rubbish home. But if you do come across some, accidents happen. Maybe it blew out someone's bag. Might seem initially strange, it's not your litter, but do a great thing and stuff it in your bag. It makes the space nicer for everyone, and you get that warm feeling that you're actually positively impacting our green spaces. One rogue Coke can or crisp packet can spoil a lovely view, and it won't take up much room bringing it back with you. An event not to miss. Outside, host a crag cleanup every year, where you get a free meal at a barbecue for every full bin bag of litter you pick up. This is a great event and gives you real perspective on the difference a small bit of effort can make to our shared spaces. Once you're at the crag, a lot of the best and most popular crags across the world are in national parks. Beautifully scenic places preserved for their remote and natural feel. They're shared by all, and our presence can add unwanted and unfair detraction from their draw. In other environments, these actions may have no negative impact, but at the crag, it may ruin someone's day. Playing music out loud. We all have our favorite psych song, and fortunately, some clever soul invented speakers that go in your ears so no one else has to listen to your Norwegian deathcore playlist other than you. You get to keep it all to yourself. On a serious note, as with many of these things, it's about balance. We personally think outdoors it's earphones, but you're bored at home, get the huge JBL out and shake your floor. If you rope climb indoors, you know to keep your gear to the line when you're climbing. The outdoors is no different. Try to keep your gear tidy and avoid spreading out too much, especially in larger groups. Keeping chat volume reasonable can also prevent a busy crag feeling overcrowded, making all feel welcome. Smoking at the crag, it's back to being considerate. Simply stepping away downwind from groups and taking your ends home with you means zero impact on others. After all, fresh air is a huge part of the appeal for many of us. Crag dogs? We all know how amazing a cute crag pup is, but please make sure that any overexcited dogs are kept under control. Often a piece of gear works as a great point to attach a lead to. Yes, they're friendly and yes, they won't bite, but that doesn't mean your beloved fluff ball isn't going to get absolutely bodied when someone rips off the Singer jug from the top of the block. Equally, you may be able to ignore the open pack of biscuits on your neighbor's bag, but I doubt they will when you're preoccupied watching a sketchy belay. Before you climb, if joining another climber or climbers on a problem, it's always good courtesy to politely ask them to join before chucking things down and communicate with each other on the best pad placements. Sometimes pads are best to be rearranged when there's more added to the landing. You would certainly appreciate a nicer landing and a friendly person to arrive if you were the first on a climb. I've made some great friends from having climbed another problem with someone else that had been a stranger before then. If you're now working a problem with another person you don't know, it's polite and friendly to offer a spot. You'd certainly appreciate a spot if you're in a risky situation or going for a dynamic launch at height. Hold off on shouting unsolicited beta. Ask if they want any first. Beta is how to do a climb. Of course, if they're in a risky position, clearly struggling, and it may be dangerous to fall, then at times beta may be appreciated if they're unaware of a nice foot hand just out of view. Your mileage may vary. Always be polite. Some people like being told how something is done. Some people like figuring it out for themselves. And very often beta that helps one person may not help another person at all. For rope climbing, sport or trad, check what nearby climbers are up to before gearing up. Keep clear of people belaying and give space to climbers. Safety first, and it's courteous. If it's feeling a bit busy, try another route. Plenty of other great climbs to get on. As you climb, wipe your climbing shoes off on a mat, towel, your trouser leg, or even with just your hand to make sure you're not picking up any soil, mud, rocks, etc. in eroding holds. It's very easy to cause damage to soft sedimentary rocks like gritstone and sandstone by picking up a loose particle, crushing it into a foothold. Use chalk sparingly. Check out our Gecko Cold for best chalk adhesion. Apply the minimum amount of chalk to your hands and brush holds with a small amount of chalk if they haven't had any traffic. If it gets traffic like some of Stanage Plantation's most popular flashable sevens, Zippy's Traverse or Captain Hook, then you probably need to remove chalk rather than add more. Brushing excess chalk off increases grip, especially on gritstone. Chalk quality varies wildly based on its composition. Some cheaper brands soak up sweat poorly, and some even feel slippy when you sweat. This results in needing to reapply chalk more often, resulting in much more chalk on the rock. Our Gecko Loose Chalk is the highest purity magnesium carbonate on the market. This means better skin adherence and higher sweat absorption, resulting in less chalk for the same mileage. Less goes further, keeping the rock cleaner and your hands grippier. Chalking up footholds? If you really need to mark them because you can't remember where to place your limbs, then place a very small point of chalk from a little pinch of chalk, just above or below the foothold. Chalk does not aid with grip for your shoes. Chalk primarily removes sweat and dries your hands out when it absorbs the excess moisture in them. Your shoes don't sweat, so adding chalk to a foothold won't make it grip. It'll actually make it worse. Think dusting a countertop to prevent your dough from sticking to it. Same thing. And we're still seeing so much liquid chalk containing resin around climbing gyms and outside at crags, UK, Europe, and in the rest of the world. It's key now more than ever with the volume of climbers that you avoid using any liquid with resin in. It's the most surefire, fast-track way to ruin holds on real rock. And unless you use harsh acids to clean them, ruin artificial holds too. We as a company exist to fix the resin and liquid chalk problem. We created the first resin-free, thickener-free liquid chalk. So wherever you use our liquid chalk, at least it'll wash off. Resin won't. Tick marks, so that's marks on the holds to tell you where to put your hands or feet. They can be necessary for some to allow them to climb something where the holds are hard to see or it's hard to get the right points of each hold. It's good etiquette to remove them after climbing along with any excess chalk on the holds to help give any future climbers on it, prior to rain washing it off, a chance to experience the climb to its fullest. The rock deserves your respect, especially if it's granted you a hard and scary send. If you find the rock wet or it starts raining, for many of us, one of the greatest appeals of outdoor climbing is the permanence of the problems. Rockfalls aside, most routes where climbers have tested their metal remain largely unchanged from decades ago. It's a special feeling to measure yourself against the achievements of the sport's past legends. However, rocks like gritstone, sandstone can erode or break away easily when climbed wet, and a single impatient climber can ruin a route or problem forever. There are countless classic problems that have been irreversibly damaged by people climbing them when wet. These rock types often feature a hard crust, varying by quality, that weaken with rain, making it prone to erosion or breakage during use. The underlying material lives up to its name. It's essentially sand. After heavy rain over multiple days, features like flakes can become compromised, with steep roof-style problems especially vulnerable, no matter how far you've traveled or if it's your only chance to climb outdoors in a while. Don't spoil it permanently for everyone else. It can sometimes be quite tough to tell whether rock is dry or not. Nice clean slabs tend to be okay to climb if it has dried superficially. If you're not sure, then press your lips to the rock. The skin on your lips is more sensitive to moisture than your hands. If you still can't tell, then apply a very small amount of chalk to the hold with a brush and brush it off. If the chalk applies and spreads well and remains white, then it's dry. And if it discolors, then it's wet and you shouldn't climb on it. Luckily, this next practice has gone out of fashion mainly anyway, but don't blowtorch wet rock to dry it out. Most rock types can't withstand this temperature fluctuation. Sounds insane, but this is often done on granite, one of the few rock types that can withstand it. If you find the crag busy, climb something other than probably the most popular and repeated traverse in the country. Jokes aside, there are lots of very high quality problems across a lot of areas in the country, especially the Peak District. On a definitely going to be busy, nice weather weekend, don't go to the same classic problems, same crags. Explore your guidebook. Right, Rock Facts guides are very comprehensive, with lots of pictures. Just enjoy scrolling, flipping through, and visit elsewhere. If you really have to get on something that's busy, then clearly observe the great British pastime of queuing. Take your turn on the climb. Don't take ages on the Deliverance Traverse to then fall off the dyno and then hop straight back on because you were just so close that time though. Deliverance is an absolutely beautiful piece of rock and a fantastic set of moves, but you don't have to pile onto it. Hopefully if you followed all the above, then you have pretty much achieved the mantra, leave no trace, and even the chalk you've used should then wash away after a good rain. Sadly, it's undeniably hard to fully achieve leave no trace due to the number of people now climbing on the same problems. The best we can do is minimize the impact each individual climber has so that future generations can enjoy them as we do currently. Imagine some number of years down the line, you're showing your new climbing friend, or maybe even child, around your favorite crag, and you happily share what was one of your favorite projects from your younger days, only to find the keyhole broken off or massively eroded. Quite heartbreaking knowing that they'll never get to enjoy it the same way you did. Let's keep those crux holds intact so that they can experience the same joy.